Hello and welcome to this session. In the last session we were talking about prime numbers, because we're going through those words that a teacher might say that you have absolutely no idea what it means. Today we're going to look at factors, multiples and products, okay, and hopefully we'll get through them all in just one session. When we say product, what we mean by is if I use a number like 3 times 5 equals 15, the 15 itself is the product. It is the product of the multiplication of two numbers. In the same way that if we did 15 divided by 3, 5 is the product, because it is the product of the division between these two numbers. So a product is just a number that appears when you manipulate two or more other numbers. That's all that a product means. There's nothing fancy about it, and hopefully that will clear things up for you there. Now when we talk about a multiple, we mean any number that is in that times table. So if I say list the first multiples of 3, well 3 is your first multiple always, because that's just 1 times 3. 6, 9, 12, you can see that all these numbers here appear in the 3 times table. And that's all that a multiple is. It's something that will appear in that numbers times table. Now when we think of times tables, we only think of numbers between 1 and 12. However, every number will have its own times table. It's just the multiples of that number. So even 41 will have its own times table. And the first multiples of 41 would be 41, 82, 123, 164, and so on and so forth. All that you're doing essentially is adding 41 each time. You're just doing the times table for a bigger number. That's all that multiples mean. So if you ever get confused, just think times tables, and that's all that your teacher's talking about. Now when we talk about factors, factors are a little bit different. Is that going to appear on the
should be okay because it's like directional, so it's kind of pointing towards you. Shouldn't be okay. The worst thing will probably be a little far off that.
Yeah, that's actually a good point.
So I'll just put a little bit of music in the background anyway, and that will get just above that kind of threshold, but not.
So it sounds like you're like a really cheap porno, but like maths.
Basically.
Yeah. Okay, right.
Cut that.
So factors. Factors are a little bit more complicated, but they're not too much more complicated. When we talk about factors, we mean anything that can come together to make another number. Remember when we spoke about those products? Well, it's kind of the reverse of those. So if I say what are the factors of 15, we say what numbers can come together. Now you might say, well, 14 and 1, because you can add 1 to 14. That's not quite what we mean. We mean multiply. Multiply together to give us 15 as a product. So, the factors of 15 are the following. So we might start with 15 and 1, because we know that 1 times 15 is 15. I like to start with that. Now this is a bad example because the technique I'm going to show you won't work. But we also know that 5 times 3 are factors. That's it. Those 4 numbers are the factors of 15. So if we multiply these pairs together, we will get 15. Now a slightly easier way to do it is with even numbers. Now with even numbers, so for example 12, we start with 1 and 12, and then what we do is we half this side, 6, and we double this side, 2. Half that side, 3, double that side, 4. Those are the factors of 12. It's nice and easy when it's an even number like that, because you can use that method and it tends to work all the time. The only addition would be 18, because when you half 18, you end up with 9, which is an odd number. But then all that you do is you look for the factors of 9. That's all that we mean by factors, and we're going to build on that in the next session. We're going to be looking at prime factors. So I hope that my definitions have helped you in your lessons, and please stay tuned for more.